Welcome to the Business and Bubbly podcast. This is the place for women in business who are on the journey of building their big ideas and want to have fun along the way. It's for those of us who also know we aren't meant to do business or life alone. Hi, I'm Charity Majors, your host and the founder of Business and Bubbly. Think of this kind of like the can I pick your brain chats that you've always wanted to have with those who are doing epic things, plus business besties, hype girls, and getting into massive action towards your next big idea all in the same place. Oh, and bubbles, because if you're not having fun along the way, you're not doing it right. Together, we'll unlock what it means to be seen, known, heard, and championed all along the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and being a woman in business building big dreams. Each week, I'll bring you a quick sip business tip, as well as interviews from top experts that make you feel like you're getting bottle service for your business. We're having the raw and real conversations and chatting about all the things, the messy middle, the pivots, scaling, the good days and the bad days, because here we do real. It's where we can work hard, play hard, cry it out, and dance it out all at the same time without being judged. This is a place where we are in the arena together and we are each other's biggest fans because most of us have enough comments from the cheap seats. It's where our too much is par for the course and where the gaps of our not enough are filled in by the other epic women that are around us. It's where we can be unapologetic about the mission we are on, about the big dreams on our heart, and the business we are building without having to be perfect or have it all together, or even pretend to. It's a supportive community where business is being done amongst like-minded women, because when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. It's a place where you have the support around you to get out of your comfort zone and go after your big ideas, because even when you fail forward or when you reach the top, you know it won't be alone. Also, if you know anything about me, you'll know that I'm obsessed with creating platforms that lift up other women to be seen and heard and known. So with that in mind, I'd like to invite you to list your business on our directory called Find Women in Business. All you've got to do is text the word directory to 833-231-8098, and I'll text you the link back to get your free listing. This is also a great way to connect with other women in business from around the world, so definitely check it out. And now let's get to the good stuff. Grab a glass of your favorite beverage, Prosecco, bubbly water, or whatever your flavor is, and let's dive in. Are you with me? Here we go. Hello and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Charity Majors, and today we are going to hear from a special guest, and this is our official special announcement for Business and Bubbly Summit, which we are so excited to have this incredible woman on. She is not only an influencer, she's the founder of Girl Confident. Her name is Rachel Luna. Oh my goodness, you guys, I started reading this. I got one of the advanced signed copies from my girl, and it was so amazing. And so Rachel, I'm so excited to have you here.
How are you? Can you see me okay? I apologize. Hello, friends. Hey.
Yes, we can see you.
So
super excited
to chat with you. I'm excited for the event, like all the things.
Yes, I love it. If you guys are here on Instagram Live, make sure that you say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you are on the podcast, if you are listening to the replay on the podcast and this announcement, we would actually we want to give you the virtual high five. Let us know actually your favorite takeaway from this episode and the fire that Rachel is going to actually share. So special announcement. She is one of our keynote speakers. She is flying in to our summit, and we are honored and excited to have you, Rachel.
Charity, by the way, you look so gorgeous. I am supremely underdressed today, and I give myself permission to be underdressed.
I love it. I love it. That's so good. One of our, speaking of that, like permission to give, like to be underdressed. So one of our things is like, we actually threw out the concept of like being your best self. What we actually do like to say is that we get to be our favorite self. And so we get to like let ourselves off the hook for being perfect, for showering. Like, not gonna lie, I didn't shower today. I just put my greasy hair on, but a ponytail. Like, but we get to give ourselves permission to be our favorite self. So that means some days like you wear the sweatpants, girl. If that is your favorite version of yourself today,
that is the version of
it.
myself that was going to be able to show up and serve. Because
Yes.
I ordered a pair of jeans from Frame, which is like my favorite jean company. It's an investment piece. 2 pairs. One pair perfectly fit, but just, you know, like some jeans, they fit perfectly, but you're like struggling to breathe. And then the other pair was like, no breath. And I just thought, you know what? I just can't live my life like that today. I need the freedom to stretch out, to flow. And I find that I write better. I serve better when I have space for expansion, when I'm not constricted and like stuffed into a garment. So here we are today.
So good. I love it. Well, I want to start with a little bit of kind of what brought you to this message of permission to offend. I know part of your backstory, but obviously those that are listening might not. And your story is so powerful. And I also want you to share, because I love this, like this permission to offend can kind of give this stereotype of, oh, well, just like offend everybody.
But
that's not right.
So to clarify, permission to offend is not permission to treat people with disrespect, to create division or strife or animosity. That is not what we mean, and I'm not a proponent for that. In fact, one of the things that I talk about in my book, Permission to Offend, is that we get further faster when we approach each other with curiosity, when we seek to understand the other person instead of fighting to be understood. That is where we have more community, and that's actually where we get to make change in the world. So let's be very clear about that. The way that this message came about actually is really funny, because people think that Permission to Offend was born because of my life experiences and some of the struggles that I had as a kid. Not so. Permission to Offend was actually born when I was at an event. I was speaking on sales confidence, because I love selling. And I wish that more people loved it as much as I do, because in my opinion, sales saves lives. Let me explain. When I watched a documentary about cancer and how cancer could be cured without chemotherapy, without radiation, I immediately wanted to know all about it. And then when I was later diagnosed with breast cancer, triple negative, which is the most aggressive form of breast cancer, the cost for all the treatments that I wanted to do were almost $40,000. And there was no payment plan. It was $40,000 in cash. You know, it was the biggest check I had ever had to write in my life. But I was so grateful for the doctors that got on the call with me to sell me that hospital bed. Because that's what they're selling you, right? They're selling you a room at the hospital. That saved my life. Here I am 4 years later, cancer-free. What if that doctor was afraid because the doctor didn't think that I had $40,000 in my bank account, or because the doctor was afraid to offend me, or the doctor was afraid that I would lash back and say, like, I have cancer, you should be helping me, you should be giving this to me for free. What if the doctor was afraid of all of those things, which could have happened? Then I maybe wouldn't have gotten a bed in that hospital, and maybe, God forbid, I wouldn't be here. But I got sold on this idea, and here I am, alive, well, healthy. So I was at this event, and I asked people to raise their hand and say, why were they so afraid to sell? And the one woman stood up, so brave of her, in a room of 500 people, and she said, I'm afraid I'm going to offend someone. And without thinking, I shouted back, offend them, offend them. I was so angry. I'm a fiery Puerto Rican, and I was so angry. And I was like, offend them. You have to give yourself permission to offend, because the reality is that people are offended by the fact that we exist. People are offended that we have the audacity to dream. People are offended that we're doing things that go against the grain. When I think about my own life, my biological mother died when I was 3 years old. Both she and my father had AIDS. And my father ended up living quite some time with AIDS, but he ended up getting remarried. And this woman that he remarried hated me vehemently. Like, this woman was so mean to me every chance she got. Why? Because I have a striking resemblance to my biological mother. And she knew that my mom was the love of my dad's life. So every time she saw me, I was a reflection of who she wasn't. And so she was offended at my existence. I've had people say to me, who do you think you are? That you would do this or you would do that. And they're just offended that I have the courage to put myself out there at every turn of event. I had my husband, Charity, my husband, the person that you think should have your back 100% years ago. He's great now, but go back 10 years ago. He said to me, I don't believe in what you do. You, Tony Robbins, all you other life coaches, you're just online marketers trying to steal from people. And then he said, but I believe in you, so go ahead and do it. But I didn't hear that I believe in you part. I just heard, I believe in you, right? Years later, we had a lot of back and forth around that. And I remember years later, I said to him, why do you feel that way? Like, I am changing lives and I need you to support me. Like, the world is already saying what the world is going to say. Like, in my own home, I need people to back me up. And he said, babe, it's just that when I see you out there doing your thing, I could never do that. And the world is cruel and people say all kinds of things. I don't want anybody talking bad about my baby. And I thought, I finally understood, like, oh, every time I go online, every time I turn on a camera, every time I get on a stage, his nervous system is freaking out because he's thinking if I were up there, I could never do that. He's thinking they're going to start talking bad about her. If they talk bad about her, it means something about me because I married her. So when people see us doing the things that we were born to do, it triggers in them. It highlights all of the things that they are not, all of the actions that they've never been able to take, and all of the meanings that they're making you live out your dream mean about them. When we talk about giving ourselves permission to offend, it is giving yourself permission to be yourself, to show up the way you want to not worry about what people are going to think. I know that a girlfriend of mine, Lauren Massage, she's an incredible stylist. We go back and forth all the time where she'll say to me, you're not dressed like author powerhouse Rachel Luna, like you're slummy Rachel Luna. And I understand, because she does have a point, right? There's a time and a place for everything. And I agree with her. You can't show up looking like a bum every day and expect that you're going to help people have a transformational breakthrough. But there's a time and a place, and you have to get right within yourself to say, you know what, I understand that there's a time and a place, but today I knew that Charity and I had this on our schedule, and I also know that I woke up feeling incredibly nauseous today. So how am I going to show up and deliver? What's going to help me serve best? This is it. This is me serving best. And if my best is not good enough for whoever's watching, then it's not good enough for them. But it is just the right amount of good for the person that I was meant to serve today. Do you have the confidence to believe that about yourself? I actually posted this earlier today because I was thinking about it. How many times, let me know if you've ever felt this way, Charity. How many times have you felt like, man, it's just not good enough? This email's not good enough. This podcast is not good enough. My website's not good enough. The event is not good enough. When we let that, it's not good enough line run in the background, what we're really saying is, I'm not good enough. The conscious mind will be like, no, I am good enough, but this email surely isn't good enough. But here's the thing. If you knew that you were good enough, you wouldn't be nitpicking about the email. You would just send it out and just trust, right? So I came to the realization, and I posted this today. There are days where I still don't know if I'm good enough, but I know that I'm good, and that's enough. You're never going to be good enough for everybody. Never. There's always someone in the crowd.
Hold on.
Do you believe that you are good at what you do? Dare I say it? Do you believe that you are great at what you do? Because if you are, then that's enough.
Yes.
I'll let you get a word in edgewise now.
No, that's so good. I love it. So I think even just to echo what you're saying is there's a difference between like when we come from this space of not being good enough and feeling that like that's an identity, like the rooted like some deep identity stuff that's there. And there's a difference, and you can feel it when people are talking, you can feel it in their emails, you can feel that energetic exchange that happens when they come from this place of actually like, regardless of whether this thing is good, like I am loved, like I'm coming from a place of already being loved, so I don't have to earn it. I am coming from a place of already being favored. I don't have to earn it. Whether you like this email or whether you like this post, whether you like this message, this Instagram live, this book, this whatever it is, because I know who I am and in my identity, like, yes, like I accept your feedback, like good leaders receive feedback. And because identity is rooted in such a solid foundation, it doesn't get shaken.
And I
by everything
love that you said
right?
My identity is in love, because in chapter 2 of my book, Permission to Offend, that's exactly what we talk about, getting anchored into our identity and examining who are you, what are you, when all of the roles and responsibilities that you've been assigned or that you've taken on are removed and taken away. Then what's left? The only thing we get to keep with us is what we value and what we believe. Everything else is negligible. Everything else can be gone just like that. What are you left behind with? And do you love that? Do you love that about yourself? Do you love what you value? One of the things I write in the book also is, and this is not a Rachel Luna original quote, but your time tells where your values dwell. And so if you say, I value my family, and I say to you, great, show me your calendar in the last week. How much time did you spend with your family? And you only have one little, half hour. Well, did you really value your family? Now, I could argue for someone and say, you know what, you work 80 hours a week so that you could provide for your family. I can see that you value your family because everything you were doing was to create this lifestyle for them. So we can pay attention to that, but we really want to recognize, where am I spending my time? And is my life a reflection of my values and beliefs? Because if it's not, then you're out of alignment and you probably feel depressed, unfulfilled, sad, mad, resentful, angry, and all of those low frequency vibrations do not help you create a life of fulfillment and service and passion.
So good. I love it. I actually want to go back to the point that you were sharing about, hey, this is how I'm showing up today, and this is like what I'm wearing, and I got my sweatpants on and whatever it is. And I just recorded a podcast that will drop in a few weeks, but it was I talked about the difference about connection and belonging, and it goes like right in with what you're saying. And connection, it happens when we are seen, heard, and understood for who we are and for who we aren't. And then belonging happens when we are accepted for who we are and for who we aren't. Right? Isn't that so good? And so it's like this, like you get to show up like exactly who you are. And like what you're saying, yes, there are those times where we're getting up on stage or we're in certain settings, it is more appropriate to wear certain things. And in something that, I mean, this is important and it's low stakes. Like, we're just two girlfriends, like getting to hang out and have a really amazing conversation, and surprise announcement, you're one of our keynote speakers, right? And so you get to show up and you are accepted and you are seen and heard and understood and known for exactly who you are and exactly who you're not. I don't expect you to show up as anybody different except for Rachel Luna. And that's who we love. That's who we are so excited to highlight. And I'm just really excited to just like one of my passions is to really create these platforms and these stages and whatever it might be, so that women like you can be seen, so that women like you can be heard, so that like your story matters. And it is for exactly this time in all of history. It's not a mistake. They have permission to offend, even with has been going on with all of the whatever, and everyone is offended and about anything and everything. Like, it's such an important message right now, and it is I have no doubt that it will change people's perspectives for the better for generations to come.
Thank you so much for that. I want to really take a moment to acknowledge what you just said in terms of the timing of things, because this book was actually delayed an entire year. Not my doing. I was hitting all of my targets, but the world was changing. We were in a pandemic. There was a worldwide paper shortage. There were all these things that came into play that stopped. And as I think about it to this day, I think, man, what a blessing that we were delayed a year, because there was still growing and understanding that I needed to have, that I needed to experience in order for me to actually take this message. And even I was talking to another girlfriend, I said, you know, I think I need a do-over with the launch of this book. And I want to do it again. I want to actually have a street team. Like, I want to have a book launch team. And I want to do all these different things to further advance the message. And I want to share that because I think that there might be someone either with us right now or catching the replay or listening to the podcast who thinks that it's too late, that it's too late for the launch, it's too late for their book, it's too late for their course because it's already been done, or it's, you know, rusty and dusty. And to that I say, dust it off and put it back out there. Do it again. It's never too late. You know when it's too late? When you take your last breath. Until then, keep going.
Yeah, so good. I love it. So what would be maybe a last point that you would like to share with those listening when it comes to being a woman in business? And right, it's this line that sometimes people feel like they have to toe of like, oh, like being offensive, quote unquote, but like really showing up and playing big and showing up fully expressed as who I am. And I'm a believer that, like, especially for us as women, we don't need to find our voice. Like, we've already found it. We just need to be equipped and empowered to use it. So what does that look like for women in business who maybe, oh, like if I get big, like it's going to take away space from other people, or if I get like big and bright and shiny and whatever, like what would be maybe some just a mic drop that you would share to the women that
I would say the answer is yes. The answer to all of those fears is yes. And you have to decide, is your dream worth losing some people? Is your dream worth leaving some people behind? Is your message, your mission, your calling worth the sacrifice? Because there are two things that people want, but they're not willing to pay for, and that's freedom. Freedom is not free. It comes with an expense, a sacrifice of time, money, energy, and relationships. And then the other thing that they want is money. That comes at an expense of time, money, relationships. And so you have to give yourself that permission to leave some people behind. I write that in the book as well. There are some people that they just cannot go where you are about to go. And it doesn't make you wrong or them wrong or bad. Listen, the people that are meant to go with you, even if you leave them behind temporarily, they'll catch up. I promise you they will. Promise you they will. Some people can't go where you're going, and that's not on you, that's on them. So who are you really living for? Me, myself personally, as a woman of God, God put a mandate on my life. So I'm either going to disobey my God, whom I say I love and revere and reverence, or I'm going to listen to man, right? And the word of God says, let God be true and every man be a liar. Like, I just can't keep giving in to the human beings when I know that in the spiritual realm, I was already anointed, appointed, and equipped for such a time as this, and for such a time as is to come. So you're going to lose friends. You're going to lose relationships. You're going to lose some business deals. I've hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years that I've lost in one area to gain hundreds of thousands of dollars in another area. Do you trust?
Yeah.
Do you have the faith? Because if you don't, then you should definitely get in the room with us, be in the room with us, so that we can help equip you. This is the, you were saying one last parting thing. My parting word is, if you want breakthrough and transformation, yes, listening to a podcast, joining a course, doing all the virtual things, but nothing compares to being in the room and forming those connections. Every step in my business, that anything in my business that has like catapulted me to the next level has been because I got in the room somewhere else, and there was a connection point, there was a message, there was something that happened in the room that set me up for the next step. So get off the fence.
Yes.
Get your ticket today. I know it's a couple of months away. Don't leave it for the last minute. I think that some people are waiting too long for the last minute to see what's going to happen. And you have to recognize that your faith doesn't come by seeing, it comes by hearing. And that's biblical too, right? Faith comes by hearing, not by sight. I'll believe it when I see it. No, I'll believe it when I hear it. And you're hearing my testimony. You're hearing Charity's testimony. You're going to hear from other people that will say to you the exact same thing. Nothing will replace that in-person connection, like being in the room.
Hands down. Hands down. I love that so much. And same as you, it's like every single time the next level is coming, I've got to get into a room, whether that's a mastermind, a conference, or whatever it is, because there is something in there where my heart is like, oh, like it might be a little like it's going to be an investment, or okay, I'm going to do, like even today, the time that we're doing this Facebook Live, May 31st, this is actually the last day for early bird pricing before it goes up. So get it. Like, what are you waiting for? Get off the fence. Like, come get in the room, because here's the thing about what happens when we get in the room is there's power in proximity, right? What other how many other times are you able to get into close and intimate proximity with incredible leaders, especially like women like Rachel? And there's something that happens. There's a lot of people that, right, we can teach what we know, but we can impart what we've experienced. And there is an impartation that Rachel has as a speaker, as one of the women that we are highlighting, and that is going to be imparted to the women that hear this message in the room. And that is something that you can't fake that. You can't like Zoom that. You can't like there is an impartation that happens when you get in the room and get in proximity. And that's what this is about. So if you want to get your ticket, go to businessandbubbly.com/summit. It's September 29th and 30th. Our kickoff party is the 29th. It's actually our favorite self kickoff party. So we get to show up as our favorite self as a woman in business. Like if you have that outfit that you are like you wish that you had an event to wear it, like show up in that outfit, like wear the earrings, wear the heels, wear the whatever sparkly, like show up as your favorite self at that next level that you know that you're being called to go to, and you know that you're going to be in the room to get what it is that you need for that next level. That's who you get to show up as, and it's going to be so fun. And then the 30th, we have keynote speakers, incredible speakers like Rachel Luna, and all of our VIPs, those that upgrade to what we like to call our bottle service ticket. You get a signed copy of Permission to Offend, and it is going to be
Do I get to
so
take
so
pictures
good.
with them too?
So,
Yes, get your bottles.
yes, we have
Let's
a
take pictures
photographer.
and hang out. As you were talking about your best self, I was thinking about my pajama outfit that I might wear to the best self party.
Do it. Do it to the favorite self party. Do it, girl.
I cannot wait to see you, Charity. And to everyone listening, when you see me at the event, come talk to me, stop me around the venue, because I want to connect with you.
Yes. And I will second that. Rachel is an incredible woman. And what I love, even what you said, that there are people that you might have to leave along the way, and there are women like you and the other women that are going to be in the room that you're going to pick up along the way as well, in the best way. So we are waiting to connect with you. We are waiting to scoop you up and to hug you in person and to get connected. And this really is like, yes, like you're going to come for the content, but you're going to stay for the connections. And we are well aware of that. And we can't wait to connect with you in person, because like Rachel said, there's nothing that replaces the magic of what happens when we get in the room. So head over to businessandbubbly.com/summit. come hang out with us, come hang out with your girls. We are here for you in the next level of where you're being called to go.
Thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope it brought some value and some fun into your business and life. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast, and even share the episode with a fellow business bestie who you know will love it. It helps us continue to attract top-level guests and reach more and more women who are on their journey in business just like you. Remember that when money gets in the hands of good women, great things happen. Cheers to your success.